So I just came back from chemo because this article gave me cancer. It's one of the most bewildering things that I've read, especially with the ass kissing and the editorializing. I mean, again, the journalists gotta hype up the person because the person itself is definitely not hyped. And here you're having them saying, "Oh wow, like she is so amazing. She is arguably the most successful female executive in Hollywood history." I mean, that says a lot about Hollywood, right? Like, the misogyny must be so rampant that they're keeping women down to the point where even when a single one manages to get through, like, you have Kathleen Kennedy getting through, and she's already, like, the biggest one in history. If you look at Japan, right, and they're creating mangas, like, they also have females, like the left likes to say it, right? Like, female. And they're making manga, and they're successful worldwide. Like, people know who they are. The thing with Kathleen Kennedy is that she didn't actually create the IP. She didn't create anything. Like, she just inherited something. Like, by this logic, if I go to work in Hollywood and they give me Star Wars, I become like the first Romanian ever in history. Like the biggest Romanian producer executive, just because, like, you get the title, you get the IP, and then you can make the bait and switch. The reality is, like, no, she took an IP which was famous worldwide, and it was to the point where a single trailer for Star Wars, if it appeared, it would generate so much hype and buzz that everyone would just drop whatever it was they're doing to go to the cinema. And now it's like, oh, a new Star Wars production came out. No one cares. Like, generally, no one cares. And I'm looking at the lack of creativity. They made, like, some Star Wars cartoon or some shit, and they were having, like, Inquisitors spinning the lightsaber on top of their head like a helicopter and flying around. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, what is this fucking nonsense? And so they also go and they say that, oh, she's controversial. No, she's antagonistic. She did this to herself. Like, imagine if I was to be like the most popular Romanian executive in the history of Hollywood. And I would go there and I would inherit, I don't know, Twilight, right? And I would inherit Twilight, which has, like, a very strong, predominant female fan base. And I would decide to change the essence of the IP to attract the wider audience, right? Because there's a lot of teenage boys that could also be part of the audience. And those evil women are keeping the teenage boys down. Like they don't like teenage boys. And so we need to lecture women about being more inclusive. And what I would do is, like, I would take Twilight and have, like, lesbian vampires in it. Like, vampires with big, massive tits and thunderous thighs. And the werewolves, like, you gotta bring in the furry community, like the prestigious furry community. So like the werewolves would be, like, muscular ladies with big tits, right? What do you think the result would be? Like, obviously, the fan base of Twilight would tear me a new one on the internet. Like, they would be absolutely outraged. And then I push forward some actress, and I would be like, oh, look at these misandrist women. Look how they're bullying my actors. They're bullying my actors. Like, the fuck? This is what Kathleen Kennedy did. And so, no, like, every single criticism that she got online, well-deserved. The fact that she got fired couldn't have happened faster enough. I think it's too late now, though. Like, I think, most people just don't care, and that's the problem, right? Because people used to be extremely passionate of Star Wars, and I would tell them, well, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't work there anymore, and people are like, I guess, it is what it is. And look at, like, how they argue that she is successful. Apparently, she produced more than 70 films. Like, by this logic, I need to be, like, one of the most successful YouTubers in existence. Like, I produce 4 videos a day in a live stream, right? I'm oozing with success. And the other thing is that they got an Oscar. Like, I'm sorry, the Oscar is the racist prize award, right? Like, they have racial quotas now ever since the Oscar So White movement. The Oscars are not a signifier that the movie is good. Just go on Wikipedia and look at the Best Picture award, and you would see that if you go before 2014, you get famous movies like Forrest Gump, you get Lord of the Rings, you get, like, movies that if you were to watch now, they would still be entertaining. But if you look at the type of movies that got the Best Picture award after 2018, most of them are movies you didn't hear about, and for good reason. Like, they're awful. Like, they're boring. That's the biggest thing, right? And so if her movies got Oscars, like, that says a lot more about the Oscars than it does about her movies. You know what I think is like a good indicator if a movie is good or not? If it manages to sell merchandise, if it manages to sell toys, I think like that is the best indicator. Since, again, like the Oscars are tainted, getting people to watch your movie is not necessarily a good indicator, because like people can fall for the bait and switch. You know, like, especially if it's a franchise, if it's an IP and the previous ones were good, like people just want to see what's the new one. And if they happen not to like it, well, tough shit, they already bought the ticket, right? But merchandise, I mean, that speaks volumes. Like, merchandise means that not only people didn't like the movie, but they still want to support the franchise. And so if you look at the new Star Wars toys, I mean, they're collecting dust on the shelves. Meanwhile, still the Darth Vaders and the Lukes and the Leias, they still fly off the shelves. And so, no, like, she manages to completely destroy the franchise. Now apparently she's working on other things. She's working on the Mandalorian movie. My favorite question is, like, do you feel like you're being pushed aside? Like, what answer did you expect to get? Like, did you expect her to say, like, yeah, you know, they always wanted to fire me because of how shit I am, but unfortunately the culture wasn't there for that to happen, because all I could do is, like, cry sexism and they would get in trouble. But now that Trump won the election and it's a lot more safe, they decided to finally let me go. Obviously, she's not going to say that, right? Like, she's going to have, like, the PR thing. It's like, oh, no, of course they haven't pushed me, no. And then she finishes the interview with a threat. She is threatening us that she's going to keep making movies until she dies. It's a good thing that South Korea is making movies now. I understand China is starting to make some movies. And so, there's that. But, yeah, this interview was funny. What can I say? Again, I just don't care anymore. Like, I used to be a Star Wars fan, big Star Wars fan. And this woman took the joy away from me, you know? It is what it is, I guess. I actually am curious if Star Wars is going to manage to recover. The interesting thing is that it's so easy to make a Star Wars story. It's so fucking easy. And, like, the sky is your limit. It's an entire universe. Like, you can literally write about anything. Just have, like, a cool lightsaber duel, and that's that. No, that's too difficult. I don't know how they managed to ruin Star Wars. Like, again, it just baffles my brain. Such a cool universe, such deep lore, and just so many adventures you can have. You can even have, like, an Indiana Jones type of thing, right? Like, where you have, like, some guy going through the galaxy and exploring ancient Sith tombs and shit. But no, instead we got the Kathleen Kennedy movies. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.